Well, today I'm really pleased to say I've got the Magneto back for my 1912 Douglas. I failed to enter last year's Pioneer run because I didn't have enough sparks to start it. But luckily, we've got the really skilled team of Steve and Andy Marks of the Magneto guys. And they took Magneto on. They take a long time to do the job, but they do a good job. Anyway, here's the bike. It's a veteran. It was made in 1912. And it's a twin cylinder, 275cc twin cylinder. It's called fore-and-aft. It's a flat twin, belt drive as was used in those days. But what I really want to talk about is the Magneto. Let's have a look. Here we are. This looks like a Bosch design Magneto, but it isn't Bosch. We don't know what the make is. Amazingly, Steve and Andy couldn't identify it. It does have made in Germany stamped on the underside. Anyway, it's a twin cylinder Magneto and it fits nicely on the Douglas. And let's have a look at how it works. That's the points cover. We can see the points in there. And on the back, on the drive side of the Magneto, you can rotate it. It doesn't have a rotational arrow on it for some reason. So when you rotate it, the heel of the points, that bit should be last. So I'm going to try rotating it one way. All right, so that's not right because the heel's moving first. I'm going to go the other way. So this is a clockwise rotation. Let me get my pen. It probably doesn't work. I'm going to write a little arrow on it, clockwise. There we are. Maybe get a scribe out later and describe it. So this is the drive side for the Magneto. So therefore, looking at the motorcycle, this will be the plug for the rear cylinder. So if I just turn it over with a screwdriver, what we've done is we've put it on a sheet of metal. So the Magneto standing on the sheet of copper and the two plugs are left out on that to the Magneto so that and just rotate it so you can see how it works. So if I turn this, now we know that it's clockwise. If I turn this sharply, you should see the plug sparks. So here we go. There you go. On a veteran machine, many things are controlled manually. So the carburetor has two levers on the handlebar, one for the air mixture, one for the fuel mixture. The oil pump is done by hand and the ignition is no different. This is the advanced retard cable, which connects to a lever on the handlebar. And this Magneto is what is known as a slack wire advance. So when the cable isn't under load, it's fully advanced. When the cable's activated, that will move the slip ring in the same direction as the points, and that will retard the ignition. So it's back on with the points cover. And we're going to fit this to the bike and get it running. So now it's time to get this thing out of hibernation. Tyres pumped up, out of its resting place in the sunroom, onto the ramp, get that Magneto on. I will pump the tyres up properly before I go out on the road. And one of the lovely things about these veterans is how light they are. So I'm just going to move it over. And get it off its stand. And off we go.
The darkness.
So what we've got to do is get the carb off and the manifold off so I can get to the drive pinion for the mag, and make sure the timing marks are matched up, because we put some timing marks on when we took it off. So let's undo this.
And what is that noise I can hear?
That is the doorbell. Happy days. Maybe it's the postman. Right. So this is an amazingly long manifold on this. So one of the things that happens is they're quite prone to icing up, because you've got a long expanse of pipe there with the petrol in it, and then the top will just come off the carb. Take the slide away there, and then this whole lot can just lift off. Pop that there safe, and then take this. This has already been off recently because we had to take the Magneto off. Well, it wasn't recent, it was probably about 6 months ago, because it takes a long time for the Magneto guys to get around. They have such a volume of work. So here we have the 2 pinions. What I've done is I just rotated the engine using the flywheel so that these timing marks match up. So I'm now going to go around the other side and pop the Magneto on. So this Magneto, I'm going to pop it on the platform here and try not to. It's a bit of a tight fit. Oh, there we go. It's just a bit of jiggling around. That's it. Got it. Got it. Right. There we go. Super. Let's just bolt this on lightly. How do they get on? Now. I'm just going to do this up loosely for the moment, because I need a bit of wiggle room on the other side. Gotta wriggle it. Oh, no. There's a bit of wriggling involved here to get the timing mark and the woodruff key on the end of the. What I'm going to have to do is take the points cover off and rotate the end of the Magneto to get the woodruff key to line up with the drive pinion. A lot of the time with this mechanics, you're kind of going in blind, really. Right. The problem is that you only do these things like once in your lifetime, probably. I can't imagine. Well, that Magneto has been rebuilt. I can't imagine me doing enough miles on this bike to wear it out again. So yeah, so once in the lifetime. Oh, I've just gone past it. Damn it! I've just turned it. What I'm doing is I'm rotating the points with this hand, which is making the. Trying to rotate them. That's it, right? But what happens is they're quite jerky, so you suddenly go over the top, over the easy bit. So what I need to do is that slot needs to line up with the woodruff key there. I think it might need a gentle tap. I think I'm going to call for assistance, bring in the cavalry, if the cavalry is to be found. Oh, Richard! Oh, Ricky! I'll go on and explore. He might be in the garden. Oh, hark! Whither thus?
Yes, my dear.
Richard, come and get this bike timed up for me, and I'll help you.
Okay.
Thank you kindly.
Well, you've got to.
So that's right, isn't it, Rick?
I think so. You got the.
But the mag's not straight on the platform, and I can't push that pinion on enough. Or we're just screwing it in. That's what pulls it in, is it?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the right stroke, isn't it? Yeah. So just stick that on there.
Right. So I'm going to be rotating the flywheel, and we see the valves moving. So the valve on the top is the inlet valve. and the valve on the bottom is the exhaust valve because it's next to the exhaust pipe. So as I rotate the flywheel, so this inlet valve is closing. So now there'll be petrol coming in and the piston will come up, and we want a spark. And then after it's sparked and detonated that fuel vapor in the head, we'll see the exhaust valve on the bottom start to open to let the gas out, let the burned gas out. There we go. The exhaust valve is opening to let the exhaust out. And then the whole cycle starts again. What needs to happen is that this needs to be timed up so that when the piston's at top dead center, that will be when the inlet valve has just closed.
Can you, yeah, which it has done.
Right, which it has done. So, and the marks are together.
Right,
So,
now all I'm going to do
is
I'm just going to check that.
Oh, right, you're using the mag tester. Yep. Oh, so it's all wobbly. We haven't bolted the mag down yet because we might need to sugar it about still.
Right, we got that fully retarded. Right.
Yeah.
Right, if you mesh that up now.
Yep.
Line the Woodruff key up with a slot.
Yeah. That's on.
That's on.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah, let's hope that's good. And then,
good to have a shared hobby, isn't it, dear?
It is, yes. Oh, I'm just putting a bit of well seal on here to. You don't get much oil up there. It's just to keep the water out, really.
Oh, it's to keep the water out rather than the oil in.
And we can stick that back on. And Julie can put the HT leads on.
Put the HT leads back on. So.
And plugs in.
I'm wondering which one is the furthest away.
I'm just screwing these up. And Julie's doing that. I'll stop doing what I'm doing and let Julie finish off here, really. But
make sure it's good and tight so we get a good contact. And here's the back plug. Pop that in the hole. There we go. Let's put this plug lead back on. It's fairly tight so that you get a good connection. Oh, that's not quite tight enough because the lead could still rotate. Alright, let's get this manifold back on. Pop that on there. It's still got its copper washers on there. There, that's it. We're not going to stick it on there. Screw that up. Nice and tight. It's difficult with these old things because you don't want to over tighten them and break them, but you don't want them coming off when you're going along. Let's get this fuel tap on the bottom of the float. It goes like that. This is like a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. I think, no, hang on, let's get that one on. So that's can support itself, and let's get this one on the bottom of the petrol tap. That's it, got it. All of these threads are a bit worn out and a bit tired, but it's not surprising as it's 113 years old. Right, I think it might be time to get this off the ramp. I think everything's on that should be on. Let's get the tools popped away. Now, don't want to get it out of control and have a crash anywhere. Right, back on the stand. Now for the moment of truth. Will it start? So let's have a look at the levels. Have we got oil? Yes, lots of lovely oil. It's compartmentalised. The front compartment is oil and the back is petrol. So inside there's a little soldered wall in there. So the front half is oil.
Is it unusual or not?
Well, at this time, this is how they did it, and it's only really, we saw those bikes at Veddell's in the 20s that they started to have a petrol tank only. So to some extent, the bike was limited by how much oil it could carry, so what the range was, not just how much petrol. No smoking allowed. Yeah, just put a bit in there to get us started. So, trying to remember the starting procedure. Well, it's going to be petrol on.
Petrol on.
Which is a bit tight, not been used for a while. I'm going to hold on to the petrol tap while I turn the actual lever, because I don't want to damage the petrol tank. On, tickle it up.
Tickle it up.
Advance, so that's fully advanced.
Select a high gear. See what happens.
Start it on the back wheel.
I mean, and